All right, and we're back for another exciting week of Average Joe's MMA podcast.
I'm Ty Stewart,
And I'm Nick Westerveld.
and I believe we owe you some apologies for last week.
We'd like to start off with saying we're sorry, but I'm not that sorry, and I'm going to tell you why. I called it on the dot, Wednesday night fighting. I knew it could be, it was like a full moon effect that happened, basically. A lot of weird things happened. What'd you take from all that there?
Yeah, it was an interesting night of fights. A lot of more upsets than we would have liked to have seen. It was just I was watching. It was a weird night all around. Let's just jump right into it. Well, for better or for worse, I'm going to say better. The Carl Robertson fight versus Vettori got canceled. Something to do with Robertson had a health emergency or health scare, probably something to do with his weight cutting. So we're going to skip that one, but then we're going to go right into my only hit of the evening, which was the Ricky Simone fight versus Ray Borg. It's just like I said, the kid's takedown defense was just incredible. Didn't let Ray Borg get on top of him, did a great job of mixing up his strikes with his takedowns, keeping him guessing, and really just dominated it from start to finish. It wasn't even really a close fight for me. How did you feel about that one?
Oh, yeah, I mean, beat snot out of him for 3 rounds, basically. It wasn't even close, nothing really I could say about that. Great win. That was unfortunately an underdog there in Ray Borg, and he just couldn't pull it off there. That was kind of why I liked that pick more. I thought for the money that was on him, you could have made a little dollars there if it could have pulled it off, but wasn't even in the same league on that night, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then in the next fight was our lock of the week for both of us, which did not pan out well. Alexander the not so great Hernandez versus Drew Dober. I was watching the line. It really did jump up in favor of Drew Dober right before the fight started. I believe Alexander, at least on mine, was a minus 105, and by the time the fight was about to start, he was a plus 130.
Wow.
So obviously the smart money changed.
Yeah.
That was, Drew Dober did come out how we thought he was going to be, that super ultra aggressive in your face. I would have liked to have seen a few more takedowns and being more aggressive with those and trying to control him down there. I think he spent a little too much time up on his feet. I do want to give a quick shout out to our boy, Peter Lines, who I had a discussion with in the comments down below of our last podcast. He was a believer that Drew Dober was going to take that, so I just want to give him a shout out for trying to save us from ourselves. So
yeah, man.
Good for you.
Yeah, definitely. I hope he keeps commenting. He's probably knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah. He's off to a good start anyways.
Alexander just did seem off, which was this was one of those Wednesday night things. And honestly, I don't know. Maybe I was, because of the weird knockouts we've been seeing and whatnot. I was kind of disappointed maybe in the ref for stepping in when he did. He wasn't like, no doubt about it, getting his ass kicked, but he didn't really seem like KO'd to me yet at that moment when he called it. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't. Is that what you saw too? That's what I saw. Like, it was kind of like he got clipped with a hit and he was rocked and he just instantly jumped in, stopped it.
I personally felt that was a good stoppage. It was one of those ones where, dude, the fight wasn't going to go another way. Drew Dober was just beating the crap out of him, and the beatdown just would have been worse, especially with some of the fights we're going to talk about in a little bit.
I agree with what you're saying. It's just like, once again, here we are, like, even the fact that we're discussing this, it was a good stop. I agree with what you're saying, but why are we not stopping other fights like that? Which is kind of an odd thing.
Right, but it's always going to come down to a case-by-case basis. You're always going to have different referees with different experience levels, and fighters are all going to be different on the damage they can take. I'm glad because the kid's young, has a lot of potential. I don't want to see him take, extra damage in a fight that he's going to lose anyways. Just stop the fight, let him get back to his full health, and then come back and try to win another fight later in his career.
Yeah, true. But, the fighters, fuck that. fight to the
Yeah.
death.
Nick's the guy with the just bleed on his forehead and his shirt off, screaming in the crowd.
But anyways, all right. So next up, though, we had Ben Rothwell versus OSP. Close fight, honestly. OSP just didn't pull the trigger. One judge had him winning. It was a split. I don't think it was. It wasn't what do you call majority. I don't know. It was kind of hard. Would have been a hard one to judge. I went with OSP. Did you go with Rothwell or OSP?
I also went with OSP. That was your lock. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I did not do a lock on that one.
But. Well, and it wasn't a bad choice by any means, folks. It was just that night. It was another one. This wasn't OSP's night. He didn't seem. OSP was doing this weird thing where he kept backing up and not being the aggressor. And he was counterpunching a lot, and he was hitting, and he was definitely tagging him and hitting him. It was just kind of too little too late.
Yeah, I think OSP was just respecting Rothwell's power a little too much. Maybe he didn't come in as great of shape as we would like to see him, because he was really gassed by the end of the third round, which was kind of odd to me. Yes, he has not had the best cardio in the past, but still in a fight where I don't know, it didn't seem like it was that grueling of a matchup. It did just seem really tired, but he did a great job of counter-striking. He did rock Rothwell at the end, and honestly, I do think he did more damage, but fair enough. Rothwell won because he kept the pressure on, was advancing, and never really gave a moment for St. Preux to really recover and really take that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's what I saw too. I mean, he kept pushing and pushing, and OSP would, throw some uppercuts once in a while and crack him once in a while, and that's just all ever she wrote. The next one now, however, terrible. Oh, terrible.
This was my lock of the week. I have to give you a big old apology because it was just a fucking beatdown. 5 rounds. Sure, Anthony Smith came out strong in the first, but I don't know what's going on. Mentally, I think maybe the John Jones fight really fucked him up because he's just not that same guy. He's not as aggressive. He was never a volume puncher to begin with, but I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct. He's turtling up. And honestly, this is what I was talking about, how I'd like to see fights ended a little sooner sometimes is, man, that was a life-changing fight for him. He's not going to be the same human being again. Like, that beatdown was bad. His veneers were getting knocked out. He's pulling guard. At that point, if you're the guys, coaches, come on, just throw the towel in. He's not winning. He's not coming back from that. And Glover Teixeira even had the time to tell Anthony Smith, I'm sorry, but it's just business. And just, you got to give it to Glover. He came in probably the best we've seen him in a long time. His cardio was ridiculous, going 5 rounds and getting the finish there. Good for him, bad for me. But how'd you feel about it, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. It's like if your opponent is telling you, I'm sorry for this beatdown halfway through it, like, what I'm saying is, what are we talking about? What is supposed to stop a fight, not supposed to stop a fight? Same exact situation. That fight probably should have been, not probably, 100% should have been stopped in the third round. I mean, once a guy starts getting flattened out like that, I mean, I don't even know what we were watching. I mean, we watched this poor guy literally get beaten and ragdolled for 3 rounds. He came out real strong in the first. I felt confident at that moment. I was like, okay, excellent. We're going to get this. I thought that might be at least our comeback win right there. But poor Anthony Smith, man. I think he was overconfident. And, he even came out with a different look when he was walking out. He had a killer look in his face. Like he was ready to rock. And it just fell apart on him, honestly. That all of a sudden, that second round, I forgot exactly where it turned, but when it turned so bad. And that's what happens. You get laid out, keep getting cracked like that. It's terrible.
Yeah, so I think that'll probably do it for the recap. I'm just going to go over our wins and losses. So I went 1 right, 3 wrong. Nick went 0 for 4, unfortunately. So that makes me 5-5 across the board. Nick is 4-6. But I think we're both going to turn it around here this week. We haven't spoken about who we think is going to win, but I think we'll probably have a lot of the same picks for you guys. I think there's some real clear-cut winners here, but I guess we'll just hop right into it. We're skipping the first fight of the main card because there is rumors that young Jukur, I'm sorry, I don't know his name exactly, is having some
Song,
visa issues.
yeah,
Sung is having some visa issues to
Yadong.
get into the country, so we're just gonna skip that one. Go straight into Eric Anders, who's 13-4, versus Christoph Jotko, 21-4. Nick, why don't you start us off?
I'm gonna go with Eric Anders on this fight, your boy. I believe he's probably gonna knock this guy out. This guy's shown he's got a weak chin. He was he was knocked out by a Hawaiian on one of his previous fights here, Tavares. I remember that fight very well, obviously. Excellent. And, that's what I got going on. This is kind of a filler fight to me, in my opinion. They're just looking for a fight to throw on here. I mean, Jotko is just nothing that special to be honest with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Nick on this. I do feel like this is kind of a filler fight. Jotko, he does have some dynamic striking, but he just really doesn't have anything behind his punches. In the fights I've seen, he's never really rocked anyone, given he's got some diverse striking, but Eric Anders also equally is unimpressive. He does have that power in his hands to knock you out, but he's not a volume striker. He's looking for the knockout punch. This is going to be kind of a boring fight until the strike hits. You know what I mean? I do think Eric Anders takes this one, like Nick said. I think his athleticism is going to come in there. He was an undrafted free agent to the Browns, so I'm just giving him a slight edge, and I think at plus 122, why not take him for the money?
So Eric Anders is a plus. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull that up right now.
Yeah, he's plus 122 on Bovada if that's where you're using your picks from.
Okay, that's excellent. So there's a little bit of money to be made right there, at least, guys. I would definitely go with that. That's a good one. Let's see, what do we got next here?
The next one is Dan Ige, who's 13-2, and Edson Barbosa, 20-8, making his featherweight debut. I just found out. Yes. I did not realize he was dropping down a weight class until partway through my research.
He's dropping down a weight class, and he feels that this is the revelation that he's needed in his life. What do you got?
I'm just going to go over some background about both these fighters. We'll start off with Dan Ige. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, brown belt in Judo. Watching him, he's predominantly a boxer. He does like to mix in some takedowns. His top game control is kind of iffy. He doesn't really seem to – when he can get guys down to the ground, but he doesn't control them very well and can't pin them there and really lay the damage that I'd like him to see. His cardio is great. He does have some knockout power for a 145-pounder. But I would say it's more of you have to do more combinations. It's not going to be a one punch. Edson Barbosa, he's been one of the premier gatekeepers of the lightweight division. He's fought the cream of the crop. The guy is brutal with his strikes, his leg kicks, his body kicks, head kicks, his punches. But the one issue I would say is he does tend to throw everything into every strike, and that does sometimes make him gas early. He can recover quite quickly in between rounds, but it does kind of make me worry. And again, with the weight cut, he was a big dude, I felt like, at 155 pounds. And I never do this, but I looked at the weigh-in video, and man, he looked thin. Like everything was drained out of him. I'm a little scared about this fight, but if I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna take Edson Barbosa. Those nasty leg kicks, that power, I think it's gonna really just be too hard for Dan Ige to really get in there. The only way I can see Ige winning is if he can just out cardio him into the third round.
All right. Well, I'm going the complete opposite. I am going with Dan Ige on this one. Reason being, Dan Ige is on a winning streak. Barbosa's on a losing streak. That's why he's jumping weight classes. Just like you said, I think this is going to be too much for Barbosa to come down to this weight class. We've seen it time and time again when guys do this. They don't look that well. They're not as energized as they usually are. They're a little more weaker than they usually are. Dan Ige has the cardio to get this done. I mean, Dan Ige's won his last 2 or 3, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Barbosa's on a losing streak. I know the level of guys he's lost to are no joke, obviously. He's lost to Gagey and Paul Felder. But
even the Felder fight, like, come on, we watched that fight in Vegas. we lucked out that we bet on Felder, but he did not win that fight in my opinion.
Yeah, we know it was a close one for sure. But I'm just saying, it wasn't like he could knock Felder out, and I just put Ige in a higher category. I mean, and being from Hawaii, obviously we've got to represent.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Like I said, I do believe Ige is the underdog plus 116. That's in Barbosa's a minus 136. Honestly, you can pick either way because, like we said, when the guy's dropping down weight classes for the first time, that's a big risk you're taking, especially when the guy is quite a larger person dropping down. So, but I think of all the fights, that's going to be the most exciting one for sure.
Excellent. All right. Next up, we got Claudia Delha versus Angela Hill.
Yep, Claudia Gadeja is 17-4, Angela Hill 12-7. I'll start this one off. Just a little fun fact: Claudia Gadeja is Nova União's youngest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. She has really great top control pressure, some solid takedowns. She's very strong for her weight class. You can just tell she's a very thick girl. Very powerful. Her ground and pound is solid. I wouldn't say it's devastating by any stretch, but she's got some solid ground and pound. One thing I do notice is she comes in really hard, really fast in the first round, and then fades dramatically in the second and third. And that's why I think Angela Hill's going to take this. She's a volume striker. She's a Muay Thai kickboxer. She's actually 16-0 in kickboxing, and I think she's going to be picking her apart from the outside, just giving so much volume that Claudia Gadeja is just going to gas. As long as she can, stuff the takedowns, which I think Hill can do, I think she might even finish her in the third round when Gadeja just starts to gas out. And one other thing about Claudia is, having watched her, she has not evolved her game at all. She is just a basic boxer, power puncher, tries to take you down, and then just do some ground and pound. But literally, I have not seen any evolution in her game, and that's why I really like Angela Hill. She at least is more diverse. She's at least learning and showing improvement in her skill sets.
You got to put the pipe down, bro. Put down the pipe. You are completely crazy if you really think that. Name one person right now Angela Hill's beat that's worth even talking about.
Look, I'm just telling you from the past few fights.
Thank you, folks. You heard him just say the name. There was not a name. He couldn't even say a name. Say a name.
I can't remember the names of the people she's beaten off the top of my head.
Because they're tomato cans. They're tomato cans.
But look, Claudia Gadeja, her wins, if you go look back, I think she's won 2 decisions, lost 1 decision in her past 3 fights. All of them super, super unimpressive. Just barely edging out these wins here. Like, I'm just telling you, man, I feel like she's become complacent. She hasn't switched camps. I think she needs some new coaches. She needs to mix something up because she's an easy game plan. She's not going to bring anything new to the table, and I think that gives a huge advantage.
I agree with what you're saying there, and I really do. But, I mean, if you like what you just said, yeah, they've all been close. But, I mean, this is women's MMA. They're always close like that, and you know that. The only one she lost that was the last decision was to what's her name? Ansaroff, who is her girlfriend. So, I mean,
that's Amanda Nunes' girlfriend.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like, we're talking about a high-quality chick right there. I mean, that chick's no fucking joke, dude. I mean, and it was a decision, and it was a close decision, too. It wasn't she got her ass kicked a little bit, but it wasn't no beat. They're both coming off a win against Marcos, which is a tomato can, is what they fed them. You know what I mean? That's how I feel looking at it. I don't think Angela Hill is going to be able to do the same things to these other women that she's kind of done. I know Angela Hill got on top of one of these broads, beat the shit out of her real bad, and got a stoppage. You're not going to do that against Gadeja. I know that for a fact. That ain't going to happen. 100%. 100%.
All right, well, but this is – I almost forgot to say this is the so we're changing it. It's not going to be our locks of the week anymore, guys. We're calling it our best bets. Because we did feel a little bit bad about last week. I know some friends that took some of our bets, and I apologize again. But Angela Hill is a plus 180 underdog, and I might even throw in that take the under 2.5. Like I say, Claudia Gadeja tends to fade. I do think this is there's a good chance of this being a finish. So my best bet is going to be Angela Hill.
Yeah. No, I mean, 100%. Money-wise, now I'm going to switch it up a little. If we're talking about gambling, you want to gamble? Good gamble. But skill level, Goodell is going to take the fight.
Look, I think skill level and for the money, that's where I'm going with it.
Well, there you go,
Take
folks.
it for what you will.
All right. Well, next up, I mean, main
It's
event.
the Reem, 48-18 with 1 no contest versus Walt Harris, 13-7 with 1 no contest.
Go ahead. Tell me what you think about this one.
So, man, I remember the days when it was really the Reem. You know, juiced out, eating horse meat, just walking through people, liver kicking and kneeing freaking Brock Lesnar when he had diverticulitis. But those days are long gone, unfortunately. He still is an elite level striker, but he has become very susceptible to the knockout. But his clinch work, he's got devastating knees, very powerful there. But what I do like about his older career as it's going is that he's really starting to mix in takedowns. He's got a clear advantage on the ground on a lot of these young heavyweights, and that, you know, he knows that he can get knocked out, that he's more susceptible, and that he's taking them to the ground. He's pounding them out. He's fighting smarter fights. He's not going into a brawl. And his ground and pound is just deadly. Walt Harris on the other side, he's already had a previous stint with the UFC. Ben Cutt has come back. We all know, or well, just really quickly, I'll go over that. His daughter was kidnapped and murdered not too long ago. It's a very sad story, really depressing thing. So that is an X factor that I don't know what his mindset is going to be like. He might just come out there with like revenge on his mind. I don't know. He does try to take his opponents down. His striking is all right. Nothing I would say is spectacular. So honestly, I'm going to take the Reem here. You know, I think he's going to grind out a decision or finish him with a submission.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm just going to go gambling aspect, personal aspect. I would definitely take Walt Harris on this. Just like I said, Wednesday night, he had a weird night. Everyone was off. They're not used to fighting like that. It was a weird night. Well, same thing goes for this type of shit. This guy's been through a personal traumatic experience. And this guy's going to come out for blood. I mean, he's fighting for his daughter who got killed. That's what he's doing. You know? Overeem just literally got his ass kicked, lip busted open, tooth coming out.
I wouldn't know. He did not get his ass kicked. He beat the shit out of that dude for 5 rounds, and in the last 15 seconds, Rosenstruck lucked out, hit him, knocked him out. Well, he dominated that fight for 5 rounds. I just want to let you know that.
I know he was – hey, man, getting knocked out is getting knocked out.
Right, man. But I let's just say that he did not get dominated. He freaking worked that dude. That guy got a solid punch off.
Now, but I'm noticing this too about these guys lately. It seems like when they get a serious cut like that, that cut is more acceptable to being broken back open. I mean, that was one of the nastiest looking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely between him and Robbie Lawler for nastiest cut on the lip.
So, I mean, that could play a factor in this. When was that fight? That was like 6 months ago or something? Maybe a little.
The Overeem fight?
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Let me look real quick.
All right, I'm trying to pull it up too.
There you are. That one was almost a year ago. 6 months.
December 7th. Yeah.
December 7th, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, just saying, man, that's where I'm at. I know Overeem's a bad dude and everything like that, and I agree with you on all that kind of stuff. But, dude, Walt Harris is fighting for something, man. And you don't want to fuck with a guy like that. For this reason, I'll just tell the viewers then. I mean, if you're going back and forth on this and you're not sure about that, I would just stay away from this fight if that's how you feel. Personally, I'm just going with my feeling with where he's at right now in his life. I think that's the deciding factor. For that reason, I'm putting everything I got on for Walt Harris. That's how confident I am in that pick. And that's going to be my pick of the week for you guys. When it comes to stuff like this, man, that's a whole other ball game. I just have a hard time believing that this guy's going to come out and let himself get worked. No way.
Look, like I said, that's why I was thinking about making this, my best bet, but I can't do that knowing that Walt, with the whole story and just, you know, that's a whole nother level of motivation coming into this. I'm personally going to be staying away from this one. But like I said, I do tend to favor Alistair Overeem in there, just being the crafty veteran that he is, and just more tools to win the fight. But for me, personally, it's a stay away, but I'm predicting an Overeem win.
Well, there you go, guys. So basically, to recap, then we basically both have Anders is where the pick that we both agree on. The other three are going to be up in the air for you guys. Ty's going with his pick of the week on Angela Hill. I'm going with Walt Harris. That's what you got.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say?
Just remember to please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps keep us motivated, like I've been saying. And if there is ever a fight you really want us to break down that might not be on the main card, if you just leave a comment, say, hey, you know, UFC, blah, 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 this fight, we'll make a special little thing for you guys. You know, we've got the time. You know, we do put a lot of work into this, and I hope you're really enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, comment. We're more than we would more than love to talk back and forth, you know, and comment enough, we might even invite you on the show. You know, we can have you on. You can give your little opinion to us, and we'll go from there. But that's it. We'll be back, you know, as soon as we figure out what's going on with the next card, obviously. I don't really have any word of when the next card is.
Yeah.
Or if they're staying in Florida or anything. I haven't heard anything like that yet. I'm going to do some research into that just after we're done here. And
Yeah.
we'll figure out what we got.
But if it's on a Saturday, just expect the podcast or the show to be on the Thursday before. It's usually when we do have it out.
Exactly. But we'll see if something crazy happens at the end of this. We'll probably jump in and do a nice little show for you guys. You know, and like I said, do some comments. Maybe we can have a little question and answer back and forth with you guys as well.
Yeah. Look forward to it, guys. Have a good one.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.